When the man opened the gift his wife had given him, he discovered a death certificate inside. Only then did he realize that his wife had disappeared from this world forever. And the worst part? He was the one responsible for this tragedy. The couple had shared a love story that began in their university days and led to marriage. But it took the man 7 long years of perseverance and unconditional love to win her over. This was because the woman's mother was a scientist who had dedicated her life to researching human cryogenics. However, due to her husband's betrayal, the mother suffered a psychological illness that forced her to abandon her work and passion. The woman's traumatic childhood left her with a deep fear of marriage. She closed her heart and rejected countless suitors until one day, the man appeared with a sunflower in hand, slowly breaking down the barriers she had built inside her. Over 10 years, the man won her over with persistence and passion until the woman finally believed she had found the greatest happiness in the world. Without hesitation, she walked down the aisle. However, just 3 years after their marriage, the woman discovered that her husband had followed in her father's footsteps. He strayed from their path and began committing infidelities. He publicly proposed to his mistress and kissed her passionately in front of everyone without any shame. When the woman saw the ring on his mistress's hand, she felt her heart shatter completely. Regretting that she had ignored her mother's advice, that even with a family, she should never abandon her career, she decided to disappear on their 3rd wedding anniversary. At the same time, she committed herself to fulfilling her mother's last wish. The woman went to the old laboratory where her mother had worked and enrolled in a human cryogenics experiment. She handed over her identification and personal documents in exchange for a death certificate. This meant that in 7 days, all her information would be erased forever, and she would enter a cryogenic tank to sleep eternally. If the experiment succeeded, she would awaken 50 years later. If it failed, she would lose her life forever. Back at home, the woman placed the death certificate in a gift box and handed it to her husband. She told him it was a surprise gift to be opened on their wedding anniversary. The man, suspecting nothing, hugged her from behind and assured her that his love for her had never changed. What he didn't know was that the day he opened the box would be the day his wife disappeared forever. The next day, the woman began packing her belongings and marked the remaining days until her death on the calendar. Meanwhile, the man noticed nothing. He spent his time with his mistress, trying to alleviate the guilt he felt. One day, he came home with a ring for his wife, but when he gave it to her, she froze. It was a ring called True Love, the same one he had given his mistress. Not only that, but the man had made his mistress the brand ambassador for the ring. As his wife tried on her dress for their anniversary, he couldn't take his eyes off an interview with his mistress on television. During the interview, the host asked the mistress who she wanted to thank the most. Without hesitation, she said her boyfriend, explaining that he sent her sunflowers every week and always surprised her on special days. Right after saying this, she received a text message. It was from the man, telling her that to prove his love, he would organize a display of roses and fireworks that night in a crowded place. Hearing this, the woman felt her heart break into 1,000 pieces. The very gestures her husband had used to win her over were now being repeated with another woman. Overwhelmed by sadness, she collapsed to the ground. Alarmed, the man rushed her to the hospital in his car. But halfway there, he received a call from his mistress. She invited him to spend the night with her at her house. Unable to resist, the man lied, claiming he had worked and abandoned his wife. The woman, seeing the coldness with which he lied, felt an indescribable chill in her heart. However, she said nothing. She asked her best friend to help her out of the car, took a taxi, and began secretly following the man.